Hello, and welcome to my QTP video tutorial where I will show you how to use an if, then, Elseif, else statement. In this video, we'll cover the following three topics. First, what is an if, then, Elseif, else statement? Then, what is a real-world example of how to use an if, then, Elseif, else statement? And third, how do I write the code to use it? As a reminder, to stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. This now moves us to our first topic, which asks the question, what is an if-then, else-if, else statement? An if-then, else-if, else statement is used when you would like for something to happen if a condition is met. However, if that condition is not met, then check to see if another condition is met. If the second condition has been met, then do that. However, if neither the first nor the second condition have been met, do something else as a last resort. This moves us to the second topic, which asks the question, what is a real-world example of how to use an if-then, else-if, else statement? Let's say you're taking a trip to the grocery store. When you get there, buy a can of green beans if they have them. However, if they don't have them, buy a can of corn instead if they have those. In the unlikely event, however, where the store does not have green beans or corn, buy a can of peaches. Let's now put this into the form of an if-then, else-if, else statement. So, if there is a can of green beans at the store, then buy them. Else if, buy a can of corn if they have them. Else, buy a can of peaches. This now moves us to the third topic, which asks the question, how do I write the code to use it? I'll now show you how to write the code in QTP for an if-then, else-if, else statement based on the example that was shown in the previous slide. To begin our example, I'll create two variables. The first will be green beans available, and I will assign it an initial value of yes. And the second variable will be corn available. Now we'll assign it an initial value of yes. We'll use these two variables to determine whether or not green beans are available at the store, either yes or no, and whether corn is available at the store, either yes or no. I'll then bump down a couple lines and create a message box that will say starting the shopping trip. Now for more information on message boxes and how to use them in your scripts, feel free to reference one of my other videos where I go into more information on those. We're now ready to create our if-then statement. So we'll begin by typing the word if and hitting the space bar. And as you can see, the basic outline structure of our if-then statement is created for us. For more information on how to use a basic if-then statement, feel free to reference one of my other videos where I go into more information on those. So in our example, our first check is to see are green beans available, either yes or no. So I'll go ahead and copy down the code from line 1 and paste that over top of the word true. So we've now made our first conditional check to see if green beans are available. In our real-world example, the next check that we were making were to say if green beans are not available, then buy a can of corn if it is available. So we now need to enter the code to make our second check. To do this, we'll type the word else if, then hit the space bar. For more information on how to use else if statements within your if-then statement, feel free to reference one of my other videos where I go into more information on that. So we'll now paste in the code for our second conditional check, which will be if corn is available equals yes. We now need to create our third catch-all. So in our example, we had said if green beans are not available and corn is not available, then buy a can of peaches instead. So the way to enter a catch-all is to type the word else, and then we can put some code in beneath that to execute in the event neither of the first two checks hit successfully. We now have the basic outline of our if-then statement based on the example that we had discussed in a previous slide. We're now ready to enter code for what we would like to have executed if those conditional checks actually were successful. We'll begin with the green beans example. So if green beans are available, we would like to display a message box that would say green beans available. Now, if green beans were not available, but corn was available, we would like to display a message box that would say, green beans not available, but corn is. And then if neither green beans nor corn are available, we'd like to display a message box that would say, neither green beans nor corn is available, so buy peaches instead. So now a quick overview of our if-then statement is we begin by checking to see are green beans available. If so, we'll display a message box that will say green beans available. If that is not successful, it will then come down to the second check, which will say if green beans are not available, but corn available equals yes, then execute the message box that would say green beans not available, but corn is. If neither the first nor the second check is successful, the code underneath the else statement would then be executed. And that's just a catch-all to say if neither of the other conditions were successful, then come in and execute the code here. If that is the case, we would expect to see a message box displayed that would say neither green beans nor corn is available, so buy peaches instead. And again, we're determining whether or not green beans or corn are available by using the variable assignments here on lines 1 and 2. So the way that the code is currently set up, green beans available does indeed equal yes, as set here on line 1. So when we execute our test, we would expect there to be a message box appear that would say green beans available. So I'll go ahead and execute that now. So we're starting our shopping trip. And as expected, we saw a message box displayed saying green beans available. Now, let's toggle green beans available to no, so that way we can move past the initial check and then move to the second conditional check to see if corn is available. Now, since corn is available, as set here on line 2 with a value of yes, we would expect a message box to say green beans not available, but corn is. So I'll go ahead and execute that test now. We're starting our shopping trip. And then, as expected, the message box that was displayed says green beans not available, but corn is. Now, let's set corn available to no. Now, by doing this, what we're saying is neither of the first two conditional checks are going to be successful, so it's going to fall into the else statement. And then execute the message box here that would say neither green beans nor corn is available, so buy peaches instead. So we're starting our shopping trip. As expected, we see a message box saying neither green beans nor corn is available, so buy peaches instead. Now, one last note. When using an else statement, the else statement always has to come after all of the other previous else if statements. So in this example, we had the initial check by using the if line on line 5. We then used an else if statement beginning at line 7. Now, you can have as many else if statements as you would like, but when it comes to the end, the catch-all that we created by using the else statement has to be at the very bottom of the if-then statement. This now concludes our video where we answered the following 3 topics. First, what is an if-then, else-if, else statement? Second, what is a real-world example of how to use an if-then, else-if, else statement? And third, how do I write the code to use it? As a reminder, to stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button. Thank you, and I hope that you have a great day.